15 years ago, I talked to a friend of mine who worked for another missions agency, and he mentioned Sri Lanka, and something leaped in my heart when I heard the words. And one of my missions or my visions in life is that before I end ministry, as I like to start a sustainable ministry on every continent of the world. And so ultimately, that would be the ideal place for us to go in Asia. Hey, good morning, Pointe Church family. We're excited about being here in Guatemala. We're getting ready to head up the mountain, and it's going to be a long trip. We're excited about what we're going to do. So I just wanted to say good morning. So everybody say good morning.
Good morning.
I'm one of those people that like to jump out of planes, go into areas that make me uncomfortable, and allow God to use my gifts to make a difference to an area that needs love, support, compassion. I've been on multiple trips around the world, and so I've been very fortunate in that way for God to be able to use my gifts.
So when I found out that World Vision, who we'd had a long-standing relationship with, was going to be in Sri Lanka back in 2022, I said, we want to be there. And so fortunately, we jumped in at the right time, and we sponsored our first round of chosen children back in 2022.
Hello everyone, a warm welcome from Kalpiti, Sri Lanka. As you can see, the net behind is empty because you have been chosen. Thank you, Pastor Ray and the Pointe Church for partnering with World Mission US and Sri Lanka. I truly believe that your partnership with us is going to make a difference in the lives of the most vulnerable children in the Kalpiti area. Kalpiti currently is sponsoring 4,950 children, and you are going to be the first batch of our amazing sponsors who have recreated history.
I just really wanted to see what a program looked like on the ground to help the children we sponsor.
I was excited about going, it was probably 3+ years ago.
But in 2022, right after we had sponsored children, the day after, the political system in Sri Lanka erupted. In Colombo, they charged the palace, and the prime minister was ultimately deposed or something like that. And so I knew that there was more stability than in some countries that are more third world countries, but there was definitely political instability.
And just based on the geopolitical environment, we couldn't go.
So the higher the level of something you're going to do, I found that the bigger the devils are that come against it.
And so I got the call from him saying, hey, now's the time.
And this year we went back for the second sponsorship round. So to me, the one word that encapsulates it is the word comprehensive.
The day was, full court press. You start off the morning with their own version, a Sri Lankan breakfast.
We would go and hit the road early in the morning, sometime between 8:30 and 9:30.
And then kind of hit different communities so that we can learn the different pillars that exist within World Vision.
And ultimately, sometimes, or most days, stay gone until dark or afterwards. And we heard village leaders, in terms of the case of farmers or manufacturers or people involved in business and sales or various things like that, helping to share with us what their vision was. It was very evident that World Vision was not there to give them a handout, rather, but a hand up, to help them to build a sustainable culture where they could take care of themselves.
We spent some time with a farming community to understand what they plant, how they do it, how they come together as over, 100 farmers, and how they plan out crop and plan out how they're going to get better.
Also, it was very interesting that the village leaders were very proud of what they were doing and very grateful to World Vision for the ability to come alongside them and to enhance what it was that they were doing as a farming community.
I found that fascinating of how they can come together to figure out how they can do a process better, how they can take what World Vision gives them and take it to the next level. That's the opposite of complacency. That's the appreciation and gratitude. Someone that appreciates what they have will take what they're given to the next level. Each community you're greeted with something different. They welcome you into their village as one of their own. They greet you with respect and honoring that you don't get anywhere in the U.S. And they really make you feel appreciated. And that's something I really took away from each of those villages, is to find a way to make people feel appreciated.
One of the last communities we visited was a fishing village off of the coast, and it was fascinating to be in this fishing village. There's basically 105, 110 families that live year-round, and to live like they did for a day. We went to the schools where their children were. We ate the food that they were eating, that they fished from the sea to get. We saw a microfinance project that was happening where at the end of the week, ladies were coming to settle up.
They have their own version of Dave Ramsey, where they're teaching them the different communities on how you save money and how you are able to raise more money so that you can eventually be free from World Vision.
It was just a beautiful tropical experience, and the people were all very friendly to us, from farmers to fishermen and everywhere in between. Really, one defining moment for me was when we went to a program for helping to feed malnourished infants. The fact that they had a nurse there that was there from the beginning of the project, that weighed the children, the folks that came each week to feed the children a couple of days a week, and the fact that they were giving the mothers affordable recipes that they could take home so that their children could gain weight. To see that all these 30 to 35 different children that in this program had gained weight was just very pivotal. We were exposed to some deeply Islamic and Muslim culture. Even one of those young mothers said, "This means so much to us that World Vision would care to come to help our children too." So the fact that Christians were reaching across faith barriers to help people, to show them the love of Christ in a practical way, was just very fulfilling.
You know, as far as the community that had a lasting impression, I was touched by the woman and her story about how she was given a dream. You know, that I have a dream moment, bringing it to life and getting her husband on board with doing that and being there as a support to support her in that dream really touched me, because she was wanting to establish a clothing line and wanting to provide clothes for kids in schools and backpacks. And I even was so touched that I brought some backpacks back to my kids. So I wanted to support her, and I wanted to show her that I was amazed and, you know, just super grateful for what she did, what all the sacrifices she has made so far to get her company up and running. And I really believe that she has a future in front of her as she really puts her effort and focus towards this dream coming to reality. World Vision, what they're doing in these communities is bringing food, water, a way of living, hope, a life to these communities. I mean, it's not just here's water coming to your community. It's much more than that. They're teaching them how to live a greater life. They're teaching them that their voice matters, and they're starting at a really young age, as little as or as young as 4. I think was the youngest, and you can see that. You can see how the community is touched by their efforts, and you can see how the country is. If you just say you're with World Vision coming in the country, it's almost like you get a hall pass. You can see the way that leaders of World Vision have injected life or invested into their own development And now they are what they call training the trainers. They're the ones passing on, they being the farmers of that community. They're trying to pass it on to their kids, or they're trying to pass it on to another member of that community. And so there's a lot of that selflessness. When people invest in you, you want to naturally invest in others.
And fortunately, one of the most powerful things for me is that within 3 years, this area in Kalpitiya in Sri Lanka is going to be self-sustaining, and World Vision is going to be able to leave and go on to help somewhere else. That's a testament to the fact that they have what Richard Rinaldi called a well-oiled machine.
Chosen Party was a lot.
It was dressed up as a fishing village because this was a fishing culture. They had nets on the wall, and the nets had pictures of people that I knew that are in our congregation. But to sit in the room where children were walking in there to pick the person that they wanted to be their family sponsor, it was just deeply meaningful to see children everywhere from 5 or 6 years old up till 10 or 11 or 12 to have the agency or the ability to go make a choice on their own. I just wonder how many children in that culture have any agency. Do they get to choose anything? But they ultimately got to walk up to this wall to look over 15 to 20 different photographs so that children could go up there and pick their people.
Being able to see other people chosen from our church and having those moments where it's like, oh, I hope he picks this family here, or I hope this family's chosen, being able to be in that moment and experience those kids light up at their ability to pick someone that can sponsor them, to have water, to have food, to have that way of living was amazing.
You could tell this was a very special day for them, and it was organized to a T. So the process that they took the children through was they got to first go pick the family that they wanted to be their sponsor. Then they went back to a table where they were immediately assigned the task of writing them a letter. And then there were some other things that they did throughout the rest of the next 30 to 45 minutes. So it was like a 60 to 75 minute process for every child to go through the process of waiting in line, selecting their family, responding in a letter to them. And to me, it was just very meaningful the way that the whole day had been designed so that they could be blessed. And it was just very meaningful. As a matter of fact, one of the most emotional moments to me is when we just sat down and our team is sitting down, and the very first child that walked up and picked Richard and Sloan Rinaldi and their whole family off the wall.
I'm just thinking back to the moment of where the first child walked up, and of all the however many pictures were on the wall, he just happened to pick my family. And I was overwhelmed. My face went into my hands, and I was crying, which does not happen a lot. But it's the rawest form of a human, is being able to be real and raw like that. And I did it because I think about how I want to be able to pass that on to my kids. I want them to be able to appreciate what they have, and to be able to be spoiled in that sense. Like, I didn't go there to be the first one chosen. That wasn't the point. But to see that person have his voice, and that voice matter, and that choice be my family, was just overwhelming.
And it was just deeply moving to me to see this child pick, not even knowing that his sponsor was right there watching from a distance, but also to watch Richard and see the effect it had on him emotionally and relationally.
And I truly believe that, God blesses those that go outside of their comfort zone and allow Him to use them in amazing ways. And I just felt so over the moon, just grateful for him being able me to have that like spoiled moment of this child picking me. But then the time I got to spend with Sadhu was amazing. The spoiling, if you will, continued into our time together. I asked different questions around kind of icebreakers, like what's your favorite color? His favorite color was blue. Do you have animals? He had a dog, 2 dogs, and he had kittens, and I have 2 dogs and a kitten, and just seeing this connection that was happening. We didn't share the same language, but through an interpreter, we were able to connect as if I had known this child for so long. It was surreal to be a part of that, and to have this child that I've never met before, but God connected us because my family, we made a choice to put $40+ $50 out there and be there for this child. And we often say you go to be a blessing to others and you're the one that's blessed, and I find that to be more true than ever with what I experienced at the Chosen party.
It was just very gratifying to see those kinds of connections happen. And then being able to have a conversation with Sachin's family. A meeting was arranged for me to meet our children that Andrea and I have been sponsoring for the last 3 years. In particular, his name was Sachin Salanaka. So we got to see somebody we had already been helping for 3 years. And an extended conversation that was interpreted by one of the World Vision staff leaders. And it was just a deeply meaningful time together. I got to meet his brother and sister and those kinds of things. So for me, I had already chosen him, they had already chosen us, Andrea and I, 3 years ago. And to meet his mom and dad who were there, she said, it's just deeply meaningful. We make a limited income, and thank you so much for sponsoring him. And I just looked at her and I said, before I eat, he's going to eat. And I want to make sure your other children are taken care of too. It was just, I get chills thinking about it right now because it's just deeply moving to know you can make a difference in a family's life and in a whole community's life by doing what World Vision does for them.
The Chosen model is so powerful because it allows that child that sits in a community that has less and might not have as many opportunities as us. It overcomes those barriers and allows them to have a voice, allows them to have water, allows them to have food, allows them to have hope in a way of living.
So let's go ahead and go to our typical American ideals. What do? If we go out to a wall and we pick a kid, we want to pick the cutest kid with the cutest smile or whatever. We tend to exercise our agency that way because Americans typically vote for those that are pretty and the healthiest, right? But a lot of times what was powerful for me is I was able to see children that were obviously dealing with birth abnormalities where they were having to walk in a different kind of way. Some of them had spina bifida. Some of them had Down syndrome. I saw several Down children as well too. They were able to go up and pick a family. How many kids like that in the world get picked? But the fact that they got to go pick who they thought would best take care of them was deeply fulfilling. Just knowing that you give somebody the ability to make choices in their own life.
And I think that's why it clicks, because other organizations, though they do an amazing job, this really touches that individual in a different way. They're the ones choosing. They're the ones getting a choice on who they would like to sponsor them, where they don't often get to choose what shoes they wear, what clothes they have on, or any of the food that they eat, or how often they eat. And so I think those elements, those standards that we often have all day, every day, they don't have that. And so you flip the script with allowing them to have a chosen event where they can experience it. we had amazing World Vision leaders that took care of us while we were there, and their goal was to educate, inform, empower us with what World Vision does, so that we walk away from that place knowing how they're making a difference and being able to be a speaker box for that difference that they're making. And I can 100% say that they did that.
The wraparound, comprehensive nature of the difference that World Vision makes in the world, and the way that we are invited into that process to make a difference in cultures and communities around the world in ways that are respectful in that community, that are loving in that community, that are encouraging in that community, that are truly helpful in that community, and redemptive in those communities.
I didn't feel like I was questioned right when I was saying, hey, I'm with World Vision to support them. It was like, hey man, you got the thumbs up from us. And so you can see that. You can see the smiles on kids' faces, knowing that you're tied to World Vision and you're there to make a difference.
This is one of 30 projects they have in Sri Lanka. It was obvious that they loved one another because they laughed together, they cried together. There was very much of a family atmosphere, and you could tell that there was much mutual respect and that they loved one another.
And I think they can see that, and they can appreciate these World Vision leaders. And so that connectivity is powerful, because here they are coming into these communities with us, which is another investment and another way to show love. And that's what it's all about. As Christ followers, as God's ordained disciples to go out in the world and make fishers of men and be there for them and to show his love. That's what it's all about. And it's another way that he's allowing these leaders to show love through bringing us into this community to be there for a moment in time. But with that moment of time, being able to show the love of Christ and be able to show that we care and we want to make a difference. I mean, this is like out of a movie. And they're able to see this, and these communities will talk, and they will tell of this chosen party that these leaders led and pushed for such an amazing event, that connectivity comes to mind.
If all churches could get on board with something that World Vision is doing, it's going to be a very powerful, powerful experience. These are people just like you and me, but unique in the way that God has made them unique. And God can use us and our blessedness to bless people that are unique in that culture in ways that are miraculous. Just the miracle of travel, the miracle of the ability to go around the world, and the miracle of being able to touch people's lives and reach into their lives is really a powerful experience for me.
I mean, I came back with a more renewed mentality of doubling down and being more formal with what are we going to do as a church? How are we going to more instill the vision of Pastor Ray to be in every continent? How are we going to do that? Honestly, if anything else, the American greed in me wanted more. And it was a short trip. Intentionally, it was a short trip, but it left me wanting more, to see more of how we can contribute, to see more how people that go there can be touched. And I think that every time people go away somewhere to be touched, they come back and touch multiple others. And from that, you have the one that comes to Jesus. You have the one that knows God more and can serve him in the way that God desires him to be served. And if I bring back individuals, I want to make sure they experience every pillar that drives World Vision to be connected, to drive that connectivity that I spoke about. And so I have this Red Bull mentality, if you will. It's charged up and it's re-energized to figure out what we're going to do with World Vision and be more intentional around that. I'm honored and blessed to serve in this global director volunteer role, but I have the capacity, I have the strengths to do so, and so I don't want to take that for granted. I want to continue to allow God to use me however He sees fit.
It makes me want to make it possible for more people to go do experiences like this that are inside the walls of our church. I think every person that's in America needs to go to a third world country once in their life. First of all, so that they will not take America for granted. But also, it's so important for us to see that there are people on the other side of the world, or not too far away even inside our own community, but to be able to see the way other people live and what we need to be grateful for, but also to be grateful that we can reach into their lives across the miles with our money and our time and our prayers and our care to show them that we care and we give a rip about them.
Step out of your comfort zone. Just give it a shot. It will amaze you that if you step out of your comfort zone, how much you will be opened to what God truly wants you to do and what God wants you to be.
I would say go without hesitation. If you can arrange it, go. If you can't arrange it, do everything you can to arrange it. Here's the other thing for us as a church. We've chosen to follow a funding strategy to help people go. And what that means is it's a 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 strategy. Our church will pay 1/3 of the cost of the trip. They raise 1/3 from outside sources on their own and then contribute 1/3 on their own as well too. We want to make it as possible for everyone to be able to have an experience like this.
I like how Lee Saunders captured it. It's from a book that's out there, but it's you can pray, you can pay, or you can play. So pray is the easiest. You can pray on a daily basis that God continues to use this church to be vessels of love, continuing to serve and continuing to protect around the globe. But you can also pay. You can contribute as people need it, wherever we may go in the next 9, 12, 18 months, or you can go.
We're going to continue to do that as long as God gives me influence and breath in this community. And I'm deeply grateful for the ability to be able to do that.
Go and experience what many would say, I would say 100% of those that have gone, is a life-changing experience. But go. Don't waste time. Don't be iffy about it. Step outside of your comfort zone and go.